Hello and welcome to a tutorial in Lightwave 3D. Today we're talking about menus in IK Booster. So this is actually part 2 of this series. So if you haven't seen part 1, check it out. So in this one we're looking at menus. So let me load in a character for us to test on. Right, so there is the character and let's add bones to this character. So I'll go to the setup tab, under bones, add, convert bones, skeletons to bones rather. So to add IK Booster, we press P, go to the appearance tab on the properties, and we can add IK Booster on the drop down list, or you can simply click Ctrl B, right click on the center of gravity and apply IK Booster. So once we apply IK Booster, we need to constrain the movement of the IK because every bone now has IK. So if I click and drag, it drags the whole character around. That's not good. So we'll select this shoulder bone and say IK stop. That way the IK only stops right there. So let me do that to all these places that I want IK to stop. All right, and then we go to IK fix because I want these bones to be in place while the character is moving around. So now we have a full rig right there. Okay, so now that we've rigged our character, let's go to a frame and test out this menu right here. So on the bottom left here, there's a menu with all item, parent, child, parent plus child, and current item. Oh, and by the way, in case on your character there's some round controllers on the bones and you don't like seeing those, there's a menu here on the bottom right. Click on it and go to options, and then under controller size, make sure that there's a 0 there, and then they will disappear. Okay, and then I think that's about it for now. Okay, and then also if you can't see this menu here, you can click on it. That's because your DOP track isn't active. So you might be seeing something like this where there's just text. You can click to toggle these options here, but if you click on the timeline, you review the DOP track and then you can have this menu right here. Alright, so all item, what this one means. Okay, what this menu actually does is it determines which keyframes get affected when you animate. So all item here means if I click and animate this part, every bone in the chain gets a keyframe as well. So I recommend all item for beginners because it's easier to understand. And then there's a parent. Now what parent does is it's going to animate. If I click here and drag like so, there's going to be a keyframe on every parent of that bone up to the main object, but not that on the other leg there are no keyframes, and on the upper side there are no keyframes because these are not parents of this bone right there. So as you would expect, the children get no keyframes as well. So only that bone and its parents. Okay, so let's undo that. That's what parent does. And then child, also on parent, before I move away from parent, what happens is if I animate this to that point and then I decide while I'm on that bone right there, or any bone or this bone right there, I select this left click and select and click and drag this keyframe, all the keys of the parent are going to move, not the children and not the other keys from other bones. Only the parents are going to move in this instant. Okay, so let me move that back. So this is very powerful because I can selectively affect which keyframes get moved when I click and drag. So if I go to child is a little bit confusing because if I click here and move this, let's go to frame 10 for example, I try to animate this foot, what happens is the children of this one get affected, but the parents as well get a keyframe because they are required for this for this foot to actually maintain this pose, the parents in this case are also required, so they'll get a keyframe as well. But if I'm moving keyframes like from here and I click there, I click and drag, only the child bones will get affected in this case. So these at the top will remain where they are, but the children are going to move because I had selected that one and downward. Okay, I hope that's clear, but if it's not clear, just experiment and see what you get. Parent plus child is just that, it combines both of those two. So the whole chain is animated and keyframed as required. Then current item, of course, whatever item is currently selected will be the only thing that gets a key in that case. So in case you move your character in IK Booster and you don't like the pose, just undo. And also, by the way, when deleting keys like this, the keyframe mode is very important as well. If I move like here, I deleted this key, but I'm on current item, meaning the others will still have keyframes. As you can see, they haven't been deleted. So if you want to delete everything, just click all item and then delete. All the keys are deleted, hopefully, I guess. Oh yeah, they are deleted, so that too and that as well. All right, so that's about the keyframe mode. This is very, very important. So whenever you're manipulating keyframes in this timeline, please take note of what key mode you are in, because this can give you a nightmare if you don't realize that you are in a different key mode as you want instead of the one you wanted. So pay attention, it's easy to forget this part. Everything is affected by the keyframe mode there. Alright, now that we get that out of the way, in the beginning I had done the IK stop here. So this is one menu. When you click a bone and right click, there's a menu that comes up here. So fix, as you have seen here, was to fix an item. So for example, if I'm here on the bone, if I right click and say fix, then this will be fixed. I can move other bones and this will remain. So for example, if I am moving the body here, the arm will remain as it is. So this is good for when the character is supposed to hold on to a table or a wall or something like that. But it's a good idea to have two bones, the wrist here. Let me zoom that in. It's good to have two bones here at the wrist, so to fix it properly, because if I, like right now, I've fixed one, and you can see this solid ring means this bone is fixed. So if I click and drag this one, you see there's this seesaw effect going on here, but you don't want that if your character is on a table, for example. So what you need to do is fix two bones in sequence, fix that one and that one, and then you have the desired effect like that. Okay, and then in case you want to move a bone like this one and you want to unleash or remove the fixing, just hold down Control while you click and drag, and all the fixing is removed in that particular area. Okay, so let's remove that fixing, right click and fix. So as I have said, IK stop is to stop the IK. If I remove the IK stop on this bone and then I click and drag, the whole character is dragged along with it for as long as the IK is active there. But to limit where the IK can affect, how much the children can affect a particular bone, you just right click and say IK stop. We're going to skip the others just for time constraint. In this mode here, you can change between rotate and move mode, but I've never really found a reason to do this while I'm using my while I'm animating. I haven't found a reason to actually change this, but in case you do, you can click that and then this changes to a move to, and then you can move your bones like that, which is unrealistic. But by default, the parent bone, the topmost parent bone is set to move, so which is quite good. And then on move motion tools, there's motion save, motion load. They do exactly what they're written here. We'll go into depth in another video of what all these can do. And then finally we have options and controller edit. Now this one is important because let's say you have bones on the neck here. You see there are 3 bones, but they all have the same location. The controller handle is on the same location, so it's very difficult to click on a particular bone that I want without clicking on the other. So what I could do is select this bone that's selectable, right click and go to controller edit, and then click and drag to remove the controller, and then I click again to remove the controller for this other one, and then I click again to remove for this other one. Okay, then I have to right click and say edit end. So now what happens is, to select this bone I can simply click there. To select this one I'll click there instead, and this one I'll click there, which is very handy. Sometimes it's difficult to select these bones, so that comes in handy. If you want to reset the controller, just right click, go to controller edit, and then right click and say reset, so it will come back there, or you can click and drag it elsewhere if you want. And this float thing here, for example, if you click float controller end, it means no matter how far I move, the controller remains in that same location like that. Sometimes your character is too small to see, or you need your controllers in exactly the same place. I've never had reason to use that, but who knows, you may find use for it. So let me remove that float. So that's about the menus in IK Booster. And sometimes when okay, let me hit controller edit. So if you find that when you're animating your character, the moment you click on a bone, before you even drag it, the character seems to snap into place, into a different location that you don't want. Try just moving one axis at a time. Just click and drag it around and bring it back, and then you'll be able to click and move your object as desired. Those are some of the kinks in IK Booster, but otherwise things are pretty good. Okay, so I think I've covered the basics on that one, on the IKB menus. I will see you in another video.